have taken you to Islamic nation as part of Islamic nation, and you keep telling them you are not, you are not, and they will be laughing. They keep laughing in their secret places because this thing is very, very clear. Christians will just be behaving as if there is nothing is going on, that all is well. That is where the thing is painful to me as a person. You are seeing things happening. You are seeing the train of events. You are seeing the red flags. But you keep telling yourself, nothing, it can't be possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. Very, very unfortunate. And like you said, our people, without Biafra, we will never have peace without Biafra. And that's the more reason why Biafra must come. There is no other way. History has proven it. Current events have proven it. That the only solution to peace in Africa is the emergence of a sovereign state of Biafra. And there's no other way. So every Biafran, like you said, should converge under the Biafran Republic government in exile, who is already legitimately recognized within the US government circle. So Biafrans, rise up, support your government. Financial traders, support your government. All traders, support your government, because your salvation is lies in Biafra. Your salvation lies in Biafra. Absolutely. So it is very, very unfortunate that somebody is being taken to the slaughter, and he's seen all the signs. He's seen the knife. Even Isaac asked his father, here is the fire and here is the wood, but where is the lamb? That's somebody who has conscience. That's somebody who has conscience, has seen that we need a lamb for sacrifice. You see? So you are seeing that you are being taken for slaughter. The signs are there, but you keep telling yourself it's not possible. It can't. But already it has happened. Very, very unfortunate, my brothers. It's very, very painful. And I don't know what can be done to these people before they can realize that they are gone. Their so-called country has been Islamized. I don't know what it will take them. The way they talk, and even when they are killing the Benin people of Plateau, you see them still calling on government. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You are calling on your killers. So the only salvation is Biafra. The only salvation, not only to us, to the other indigenous people in the so-called Nigeria, is Biafra. And to stability in Africa will come only from when Biafra emerges as a sovereign, free, and independent nation. So I don't know. I wanted to move to the nation. It's like you still have wanting something to say. Let's do that quickly. Then I move quickly because it's gonna.
Yes,
like I said,
yes. I just
if they're not.
Yes, I just want to. 20,000. It's really appalling. It's really appalling that this level of atrocity is happening in Nigeria, and we have those who say they speak to God, that God speak to them directly. We have those who say they dine with God, they even eat breakfast with God, and yet they cannot do anything about the protection of the lives of their people. They cannot even let their people understand the situation, the serious situation that they find themselves. They don't even have a solution. It's very, very appalling. Every Sunday you see them go to school, go to church. Every day you see them pray. Every day they are praying. They are praying since time immemorial. These people have been praying, and they have not had no solution have come out from their prayer. And the people who are being deceived, one thing that is paining me so much is that every year, these same people that have no solution to the problem of their members, these same people that cannot proffer solution to the situation that they find themselves in Nigeria, every day they will come and tell you they have prophecy for the year. They speculatively come and deceive the people with something that will eventually happen in the future. They come and tell you that God told them, God do this, God do that, at the expense of the vulnerable people of that country. It is very, very appalling. The Fulanese they are following the template as laid down by the Osman Dan Fodio. These people are doing it systematically, trying to take over indigenous land. And yet the people that say they are more educated, they are more advanced, they are more knowledgeable, they know everything, they have no solution, they cannot proffer solution to the people who are being displaced, who are being killed on a daily basis. It is very, very appalling, and it's very, very discouraging that after seeing all these atrocities that Nigerian government are committing against the people, those who say that the leaders of thought, that the GOs of churches, they cannot come out and categorically state to their members that enough is enough, for everybody to rise up and demand that Nigeria be disintegrated, because no matter what happens, the end product of what is happening in Nigeria is the division of that country. And if you don't rise up to demand for its division, either your head will go in before it is divided, or your brother's head will go in for it, or your community will be overrun. And eventually, that will be the end product. Just like he said that negotiation we are still going to sit on the table to discuss the pathways about Nigeria. But the longer we wait for it to happen, the longer people are being killed, the longer Nigerian government are taking more of people's lives. And we cannot allow that to happen. And that is why we are calling on everybody to come and support BRGIE, so that we can get this done with now and for all. Thank you so much. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Very, very painful. Very, very painful that people will see all these signs and red flags, and they keep saying it can't happen. Are you the only country that was Islamized? Turkey was a Christian country, Islamized. Even Egypt, Syria, all of them, they were all conquered by Islam. And you keep saying it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it's not that if you're depending, you have a military you are depending on, like we Biafrans who have our defense forces. You don't have anything that you are backing on. You keep saying it's not going to happen. Very, very unfortunate. So let's proceed. What are they are talking about? We're talking about this time. We're talking about Nigerians' choice of Turkey raises red flags. And in fact, we have covered this very segment now. We have covered it from even your contribution or what we have been discussing. We have covered it. The red flag that this so-called defense pact, it raises red flags. So what are these red flags? Let's just quickly go through them. It tells the international community that Nigeria prefers use of force and the security suppression over dialogue and political solutions. The red flags that we are seeing from this alliance is giving the international community the impression that Nigeria prefers use of force to deal with the Biafran issue than dialogue, and it is to their own undoing. It also shows that they don't want to even talk about political solution. They want, all they want is force. So that's why it is weakening their stand. It tells international community that Nigeria is uncomfortable with international mediation. So when you are guilty, you won't want anybody to mediate, because you know they will point out your errors. You know they will accuse you. So Nigeria is scared of international mediation. So all they want is how to use force to crush self-determination. That's all they are looking for. Because if you are involved in a brawl with anybody and you know you have not done anything and somebody is coming to mediate, you will be very happy. They don't want anybody to mediate, international mediation. So that's what they are telling the world. That's the red flag the world is observing from what they are just doing. And it's also tell international community that Nigeria fears open and frank dialogue on Biafran quest for self-determination. Nigeria is scared of coming to the table and say, let's talk about this issue. Because they know they don't have a case, like you even mentioned. You said Nigeria don't even have a case. So they are so scared. In case if America will call and say, okay, let's talk about this thing. They don't have a case. So all they are looking for, how they will use force before anyone will say, let's talk about it, how they will use force to crush the Biafran quest for self-determination. And which is not going to happen. Because this issue did not start today. If they could not cross shot at that time when nobody knows what was going on, when the whole world was hidden, no communication, no internet, nothing. They couldn't crush us at that time when they had the opportunity. It can never happen again. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible at all. So when a state that is afraid of dialogue, when a state that is afraid of dialogue, and it's because it knows when a country like Nigeria is scared of dialogue, what does it tell you? It tells you that it knows that its case is already weak. If it has a case at all, like you said. So I want to ask some questions, and if anybody is free to answer it, I mean, if anybody is willing, if Nigeria's unity is legitimate and voluntary, if the unity of Nigeria is legitimate and voluntary, why borrow methods from states accused of crushing minority voices? If your unity is voluntary and it is legitimate, why are you borrowing or taking lessons from countries that are known for crushing minority voices by force? And if Nigeria unity is truly legitimate and voluntary, why will it use force, military force, as a response to anyone questioning that unity? Why using force? Why should Nigeria send troops to silence a political conversation? A conversation is supposed to be political conversation, discourse. Instead of discussing it, you are sending military to silence the people. History has shown us that unions sustained by consent rely on dialogue. And we're going to look into history. History has shown us that all the unions that are sustained by dialogue, and also we are going to look at unions that are sustained by force. Let's beam our searchlight into history. The following unions survived because people were allowed to talk, people were allowed to vote, people were allowed to negotiate, and people were allowed to leave if necessary. And our super leader have said it. Even if we've gotten Biafra and you say you want to leave, he said, we are not going to be like Nigeria. He said we will have a party, send-off party. So you can see the difference between the Biafran Union, United States of Biafra, and the so-called ZOO, or the Republic of Biafra. You can see the difference, a very big difference. We are not going to be a nation that is held together by force. So this is what our people should look into and then quickly come to support the government. Because there is a very big difference between Biafra and Nigeria. Now, let's look at United Kingdom and Scotland. 2014 referendum. Scotland questioned its place in United Kingdom. It questioned why it will continue to remain in United Kingdom. The British government did not deploy troops. But the same British government is encouraging Nigeria to deploy troops against different agitators. You can see the double standard. And that's why that empire, that so-called British empire, has gone down to the lowest level. Today, they are, instead of partnering with their historic ally, with their historic ally, they are going to China. That will show you how that country has fallen based on the prophecy of our supreme leader. So the government did not deploy troops. What happened? It allowed campaigns, it allowed public debates, and referendum was organized. And what was the outcome? The Scottish voted to remain in UK. So the union survived it. Then let's also look at, and the lesson learned from there is that confidence allowed dialogue. When you are confident that your case is legitimate, you allow that dialogue to prevail. The key question we are learning there, dialogue preserves unity. And look at Canada and Quebec. Quebec held 2 independent referendums, 1980 and 1995. The Canadian government did not criminalize the movement, neither did they deploy troops. So that is why I'm saying, when you are going to Turkey, who has a different pattern of dealing with those who are asking for self-determination, these other countries will be looking at you in the same way they look at terrorist country. So your case has been rubbished, because this thing have happened in their own countries and they knew how they handled it. So you have lost your case completely if this matter comes to their table, because Canada had the same issue. And what happened? They did not jail the leaders that were asking for separate nation. Neither did they militarize Quebec. What was the outcome? Quebec remained in Canada after the referendum. 2 referendums. And we have said it before, if you conduct a referendum today, okay, even if you say the one we did, which we had over 50 million people who subscribed to the Biafran independence, even if you say you wanted a different one, if your case is, because it's only if your case is legitimate, and that is when you can say, okay, let's go for a referendum. If you know we are wasting our time, if you know we are deceiving ourselves, then you can call for a referendum, like this nation's call. So if today this case comes to the table of these nations, you will see that you have lost your case, because they will tell you that we had similar problem, and this is how we dealt with it, so in a civilized manner. So you are running into Turkey to come and teach you how you can crush the legitimate agitation by force. So the union gained legitimacy and stability. And the lesson is very clear. A confident state allows its people to decide. When you are confident that what you are doing is right, that these Biafrans have been treated fairly, there's no injustice against them, you have not killed them, you will be very open and say, okay, let's have a debate, or let's have a referendum. Rather, you are running to a country that will never give the Kurdish an opportunity to dialogue. So you have lost your case. You can, okay, look at even when Britain wanted to leave the European Union, what happened? No army forced Britain to stay. But unfortunately, the same Britain is forcing us to stay. Before our very eyes, they joined through referendum, they joined the EU. And they also had a referendum to exist, and they left. No army was raised to force them to remain. And even after Brexit, the European Union have remained. And voluntarily, those who want to join will join. And if you want to leave, you leave. So the lesson we are learning here is that you don't need force where consent exists. You don't need force. But if you look at nations that have tried to use force to have unity, we're going to just quickly look at that. Nations that have tried to use force, as Nigeria has been doing, and to see how far they will go. And that's to tell Nigeria that what you are doing, you're just wasting your time. We have said we are no longer part of Nigeria, and we can never be part of Nigeria. So if you look at it, you look at the former Soviet Union. which relied on military power and repression. And eventually, what happened? They fractured and collapsed. Soviet Union used suppressed dissent, crush autonomy movement, and use military force to maintain unity. And what was the outcome? It collapsed, 1991. And the same thing, Nigeria must learn a lesson. If someone Soviet Union with all the power they had could try to use force to maintain unity, and with all their ability, their powers, and they failed, is it Nigeria that will continue to hold us together? Never. Never. So going to Turkey is purely following the path of the country that tried to get unity by force. At the end of the day, they fragmented into 15 independent states. So Nigeria have lost their case against us. And like you said, they don't even have a case. So the lesson we are learning from this is that force only delayed a collapse of an empire. What they are doing is only delaying our getting out of Nigeria, but it cannot stop it, because we have seen it that countries that had the power to make sure that unity was enforced by power could not survive. Yugoslavia also maintain unity through militarized and centralized power, suppress ethnic and political dissent, and what was the outcome? Violent breakup. The history is there for anybody to read. Violent breakup. Multiple independent states emerged. And what is the lesson? Fear and force hold unions together temporarily until it can no longer. And that time has come. Fear and force have held Nigeria together for a very long time. And that temporary time has elapsed. So going to Turkey will not help them at all. Rather, they have lost their case. It has weakened their case. It has weakened their case. It has weakened their case. So I call on Biafrans, please. Stop this. You are thinking that good will ever come out of Nigeria. Nigeria is gone. So the lesson we learn from all this is that repression strengthens the case for self-determination. All these things they are doing, this use of power, it strengthens our case. Going to Turkey strengthens our case. And the union can never be permanently sustained by fear through force. It's not possible. Nigeria's alliance with Turkey will haunt it. If this case is presented before International Criminal Court, even though we know they are all corrupt and they are all been Islamized, but if this case is presented before International Criminal Court, they have the red flag they have demonstrated by the alliance with a country that is anti self-determination has proven their case. No case submission had made their case. They don't have any case. Even wherever you take it to before international communities, they have lost their case. So it is very clear, because Biafra Republic government in Netherlands, we're already documenting all their abuses. Nigeria by force are perpetuating within our territories, and we have cases to present. So Nigeria has no case any longer. Nigeria has no case any longer. They have shown that they are weak, they are gone, and they have lost their case. And Nigeria ought to have learned lessons that empire don't fall because rebels are strong. They fall because they no longer have legitimacy. Nigeria have lost every legitimacy and credibility to keep on holding this union together, even though it expired in 2014. Nigeria's legitimacy is to continue to exist as a country has completely collapsed. Nigerian-Turkish alliance has accelerated its collapse. This alliance has accelerated the collapse of Nigeria. They accelerated the collapse of Nigeria. So, like I said, it's going to be a very short space. And I want to close here. And but in closing, I want to call on Biafrans one more time. Please, we have spoken and spoken and spoken. And apart from our speaking, there are all the signs are there everywhere that Nigeria has been Islamized. So keep on trying to see how you can, even like Obi, who is moving, gallivanting all over the place, confusing our people. They will never give you the presidency. Before you, they tried it before. By all standards, you won, and they denied you, and they're going to do the same thing again. If at all that 2027 will ever come meet Nigeria as a united nation, because it cannot be. This is the last time that this Nigerian country will be a country, because we cannot continue to be there until 2027. This year will be a determinant year between us and Nigeria. So Biafrans should gather themselves, think twice, come back to their senses, and support the government that is the only legitimate government, that is only government that is doing what it should do to make sure that we are not eliminated. In international space, they are making waves. And we are our own alliances with the United States, which is the leader of the free world, the champion of democracy and freedom. So we have a very strong case, and Nigeria is running away from bringing two of us together because they know they have lost their case. They have lost their case. So this alliance has has completely damaged Nigerian human rights credibility completely, and reinforces the perception that Nigeria views Biafran through a military lenses. It aligns Nigeria with a global repression that only Turkey represents. If Nigeria will not, like when US wanted to intervene or is trying to intervene, if they really wanted to deal with the terrorists, they would have welcomed the United States. But all they did was to go to a country that is in love and the same bed with terrorists. So they have lost their case completely. So Biafra does not need Nigeria to fall before Nigeria is already falling. We're not looking forward that it's already falling and it's already weak. When the states abandon dialogue for suppression, history does not ask who had more weapons. It asks only who had more justice, and Biafra had more justice. So I will stop here, and if anybody is willing to take up a space, then Biafrans will come around. Because I have noticed that my phone no longer stays any more than necessary. Each time I tried, I've suffered shutting down of the space. So what I have tried to do is to make sure that I am very brief in all my spaces until I get a very good appliance. So thank you so much for coming around, and I will yield my mic here. If anybody has anything to say, you go ahead. If you don't have, then the space will come down. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think the phone went off. So good morning, dear friends. Thank you. Keep sharing, day one.